Good evening, friends. Are you ready for our weekly Lenormand reading? This is for the week of March 24th. I know both Venus and Mercury are both in retrograde right now, which is posing quite a bit of challenge. I know for me anyhow. Oh my gosh, my computer today, it just was not cooperating whatsoever. So I tried to have as much patience as possible, and everything ended up working out. So I guess it's how we react to things, not so much how we, feel, negatively about it. It's how we react to those difficulties. So, all right, here we go. First card out is what Spirit would like to speak with us about. First card out are the mice. Oh, not those mice again. Now, those little mice, they can be very destructive. They also indicate possibly a little bit of a loss, a little bit of niggles, concerns. You're going to want to handle small problems before they become big problems. Let's see, I do see a little bit of competition, challenge possibly. Those big losses, if you don't handle the small problems, they become big. But I also feel that sometimes you have to, start from scratch. So, that allows things to, maybe come back, even more abundantly. What comes to mind is, like pruning. If you were to prune back your, some of your, trees or plants or, then they come back and they grow more abundantly and healthy. Okay. So loss, yeah, but I would say it would be more or less, just, decluttering, making way for bigger and better. Yeah, things can get messy before they improve, I know, like when you're doing your spring cleaning, you're tearing everything apart and then it looks like a tornado hit, but then everything gets put back together. So I do see a little bit of financial, maybe expenditures, maybe some house repairs. But I do see the, those fears and worries and concerns are popping in. But I also see the bear, which is kind of that protection, stability, coming out of hibernation too. That's our cover card. And then to the far right, I see the flowers, the house, and the ship. So I see recovery and success. So things that might feel a little difficulty is still going to get you where you need to be, basically. Okay. Then I see the tower. That tower, that's the time of the past. But it's also official in nature, and it also can be a little bit of a leveling up. And I see the sun there, so that kind of tells me I'm right on target with that. I do see a little bit of, a period of maybe being away, and then things are starting to, open back up again. Okay, after a period of maybe a little bit of depression even. Sunshine, I know, will help with that. Even if you can get to, maybe, those lights that you can get that are more daylight, or, for people who don't get a lot of sunlight, and possibly even vitamin D. So, maybe do the things that you can do where there is lack of sunshine, okay? Let's see, what else do I see? I see the garden, and then wish fulfillment, so I like to see that. I see news coming in, maybe from somebody from abroad or from a distance from you. I do see a gentleman in the picture, so I don't know if maybe you're having a relative maybe come visit, or, a friend. It's not specific there, but, probably someone closer to you rather than, just an acquaintance, okay? And then I see your career and focus, multiple directions that you're going to be taking there too. that's going to promote healing. I do see a little bit of a risk taker, or maybe a challenge in the health department when it comes to maybe just stress. It kind of gives that a little bit of a challenge, but it might even have to do with heart or but healing. So there's some energy there that's healing, could be in the heart department, physical heart or relationship. Our bottom left, because the only reason why I say bottom left right now is because I'm passing, I'm spreading them out, and I don't want to take up, too much time and wait for me. But I see the bottom left is the stork, and the bottom right is that fox. That fox, can be your career, but it can also be third-party characters that could be a little on the sly, slick side, okay? So just be mindful of that, That's why I kind of, those mice coming out, which, that's what Spirit would like to talk to us about. It's kind of like where you need to read the fine print. Sometimes people don't see the forest from the trees. You really need to pay closer attention to detail, okay? I do see a blessing, though, in that mix. So, and I see partnerships, and I see helpful friends, but I do see where things can be a little on the challenging side. But I also feel that, challenge is good. That comfort level, you need to get out of your comfort zone, and, maybe research is definitely highlighted there too. But I do see blessings and healing. It could be like food related too. Maybe things that can cause allergies. Because the snake is there, the tree is there, the book is there, and the clover, that just has that, maybe things that are causing digestive issues, but maybe, too, you need to relax and unwind. The stressors, and once again, the mice can kind of be that. That I do feel that you need to relax and maybe take it easy a little bit and not work so hard, okay? A lot of times when we're resting too, meditation and all of that, those ideas, those creative ideas will start popping in, and then you'll even come up with better solutions to the problems that you might be experiencing that is actually going to be, less, less work. It's going to be work smart, not hard feel to it, because you're going to have these good ideas that pop in and not be so stressed. When we're stressed out, I feel like we're not using using our full potential. Okay. So whereas you might feel like you're being lazy, you're really not. You're being more productive, and you're using your energy more wisely. Okay. I do see, I feel like there's a breakthrough, and it has to do with, the emotion, and, but it also can be an offer, a big offer. Maybe something's coming in that's going to, it's going to be a breakthrough, and it's going to be, like an emotional feel to it, and it's going to be something karmic related that, news is coming through. I just feel like something is right on that border, right on the edge of coming in. That's something very substantial or very significant. Big news. But there's also been maybe a period of being away, or possibly a loss. And the bear kind of indicates, that mothering energy. So I don't know if anybody is in that you know, whether they've lost a parent or, you know, or possibly just that period of missing maybe, and it's causing a little bit of grief. It's always a challenge, you know, to read some of these because I know that they can mean something, you know, in certain aspects, and one of them could be either a period of being away and missing or the loss of, and then a feeling of grief or despair, or just maybe even the mother is feeling maybe left behind. It's kind of that's what the cards say. So, you know, the phone works both ways. So whether it's your mother missing the child or a child missing its mother or parent, you know, pick up that phone, okay? I do see some communication problems though, and that's causing some anxiety, and it can be very disheartening, but I see the sun. So, you know, even in most challenging situations, there's always some good that comes from that, okay? You know, I always say, you know, focus your attention on the things that bring you joy, but don't neglect your responsibilities, don't neglect those you care about and love. But it can be a balancing act too, so just, you know, do the best you can. Let's see, what else do I see? I do see an offer, though. There's an offer coming in, and I think it's big. And I do see some collaborations and partnerships, too. You know, people that you surround yourself with, those are the people that, you know, that you can rely on, that you can count on. You know, there's a lot of, you know, your circle of people, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality, okay? The stars are in the smack dab center. That's our, you know, even though the mice are what Spirit would like to speak with us about, the very center portrait is the stars. The stars is your wish fulfillment. But I do feel that it can be a challenge sometimes when there is success. You know, sometimes being obscure and lying under the radar, sometimes that's a little easier to cope with. But, you know, if you have a good idea, run with it. Don't let anyone dim your light. You pursue the things that bring you happiness and joy and fulfillment. It's your life to lead, right? Now, I can see where, you know, you need to manage your time wisely with that, but don't let it prevent you from doing the things that you enjoy doing, including don't work yourself into the ground. You need to, you know, get out and do those extracurricular activities as well. Find the time to spend with your family, your friends, your loved ones. You know, it's kind of like the money situation. You know, you can't take that with you. Well, you know, if you work your entire life away and you retire at the last possible second, you know, really, you know, you've only left yourself a little bit of me time where you need to be able to pursue, you know, the things that bring you joy. You know, whether it's golfing or you know, camping or, you know, going on vacations. You know, yeah, you don't want to, you know, what are we working for? Let's see, what else do I see? I do see maybe, you know, there's a change, and it has to do with your career and finance, but I do see progress, and I do see a little bit of research that needs to be expanded on, or more knowledge needs to be, you know, learning as you're going, or possibly training, or you know how there's like workshops or that sort of thing. I do feel that's going to do you some good there, you know, where you can do some learning, maybe more hands-on. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I do see an ending, and then there's a new beginning. And a little bit of confusion, anxiety, and worry, but the end result is a positive tower moment. So once again, that's kind of that feeling of, you know, all things happen for a reason, and it might seem, you know, hard to handle or very concerning or worrisome, but the end result is something that's a blessing, that's going to promote your growth. Okay, because I see the sun with some delays and challenges and obstacles, but the door is opening up, multiple doors. It's not just one that leads to recovery. I do see news coming in and healing. So, you know, some of our challenges, you know, they're really honestly blessings in disguises. Okay. Lots of progress though, because these are our focal cards, is progress. But I just feel a little bit of, you know, maybe, you know, disease is when your body is in dis-ease. So relaxation, rest, maybe massage, those kind of, you know, energies where healing is concerned is vital. Meditation, you know, even counseling, or, you know, somebody that you would maybe go to for advice, you know, that's kind of in that little mix too. Okay, people that you're closely connected with. Okay, people that you would trust, you know, and you wouldn't take advice to somebody, you know, that you didn't look up to. So let's see what else. Yeah, I see a lot of nervous energy though. Just stay calm, be courageous. Yeah, there's more than one way to skin a cat feel too. So if you have an idea, you know, and it might seem a little cumbersome, maybe try to come up with another solution that can be a little more, you know, and like they take the easier route to fix a problem, not necessarily, you know, to the point where you know, when you cut corners, sometimes you get what you pay for feel. You know, I think that sometimes there's easier ways of doing things or fixing something. Just go with the way that makes the most sense. Okay. Like, you know, like the easier methods. I do see some challenging conversations though, for sure. And I do see a little bit of safeguarding. Safeguarding is kind of like, you know, being mindful and maybe being a little careful with your actions and your words, which is fine. You know, I mean, still, you know, maybe speak your truth, but it's kind of like, you know, say what you mean and mean what you say without being mean. So just be careful and cautious there. I do see change, and it doesn't, you know, it can have that challenge feel to it. But once that dust settles, I think things open up. You know, spring is right around the corner. I mean, we're in spring, but maybe the warm weather will start, you know, unthawing and, you know, freeing up and moving forward. You know, this whole business with Mercury in retrograde, Venus is in retrograde, and, you know, spring has just, you know, sprung, and we just had that time change. I just feel like there's a lot of change. And, you know, some people have a hard time adapting to change. Some people are good with it, but then there's others that, you know, it takes a little bit of getting used to. So, I mean, trust me, I'm like a duck. You know, your legs underneath the water are just going 100 miles an hour, and you're trying to maintain, you know, calm and peace. But I know it can be a challenge. So let's see what else. I don't know. I feel like somebody's putting in the squeeze though. There's either a big, huge bear hug, or there is some huge challenge that You know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of, you know, diamonds. You know, they're under so much pressure. It's kind of that feel to it, you know, and adversity, you know, and maybe a little bit of sandpaper people. They're there to polish you. Um, but, you know, also I kind of feel like that overbearing feel to it. You know, nobody wants to feel that they're being controlled, or, you know, nobody wants to be that overbearing person. Um, you know, and maybe not give the advice unless asked. You know, when you you know, talk to your friends or your, you know, support group, support people, you know, maybe not offer the advice, maybe wait to be asked. Let's see. Yeah, I see careers in focus here, possibly a vacation here, and research and new connections and offers here. Spirituality could be in the mix as well, or higher level, um, yeah, and bigger talks. So I don't know if it's regarding a passing or I mean, this could literally mean funeral plans, is what I'm saying here. Or maybe things will change drastically, that it's going to be a little bit challenging, and changes on the horizon. Could be retirement too. Yeah, I would say retirement. It could be maybe like because the bear in the coffin has that significant loss feel to it. But I also see like that retirement feel. So maybe a nest egg, maybe that you've, you know, the savings from work, retirement, maybe cashing that in a little bit and reinvesting it possibly. I don't know, it has that feeling of something you must do, and it's karmic related, and it's going to promote, it's something that you're having to go through due to change, okay? Something that's going to be changing in your career. So that's why it kind of points to retirement, or, you know, maybe your 401k, cashing that in possibly. You know, all these energies, everybody's dealing with them, and in one fashion or another, the topics that I talk about may not resonate with you specifically. It's probably a message for someone, but we're all dealing with those same energies. So I'm trying to figure out what that could mean in another context. And, you know, that's why I say maybe, planning for your future in the end of times kind of comes to mind, okay? Legacy wealth, I think is what it's saying too, because your child is there. But yeah, I do feel there's concern there. So maybe, you know, like when you're trying to get your trust ready, or your wills, there's deeds, transfers, ladybird deeds, that sort of thing, just make sure everything is in order, so that, that's taken care of, and you don't have to worry about it. But it's official in nature, and it's hard to it's not something we would like to take care of, but it's something we need to take care of. Okay. Yeah, I feel like there's going to be lots of, either invitations, like travel plans, that feel to it. But I also feel that kind of like spirit is your travel guide. Pay attention to your little hits, your internal, that intuition that comes to you, it can obviously be, your higher self, but spirit guides, angels, I do feel that there are several communications that may be coming through there too, okay? So just listen, in that time, a period of rest or relaxation and meditation, that's that opportune time for spirit to speak with us, okay? All right. Well, I think that's about all I have for this week. If you'd like a more personal reading, I'd love to help. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. You have a blessed week. Take care. Bye-bye.